Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get into yet another matchup in Acropolis number 3's Tribunal Stage. This is our first of 4 opportunities for many of our players to qualify into the Battlement Stage, the first main stage of the tournament. Still in that opening phase, that opening stage. And the Shambler will take on Shopkeeper Dog today. This is going to be yet another best of 5. This is a round of 8. This is where we start narrowing the aperture. Whoever wins this series will face off against one additional player in the final set, and that will be the qualification series. So after this, it's only one more series, one more best of 5, and then you're in the Battlement Stage if you win that one. Let's see who it'll be. It's actually going to be a Lattice opener here for the Shambler, who has switched to Protoss. He has our black Protoss in the top right of Mass Destruction, which is his pick, and he will be scouting his opponent first. Same for Shopkeeper Dog, who is our Neon Carrot. No, Vivid Orange Terran in the bottom right. That's a good color to pull in this tile set. It's still bright enough that I think it'll be visible, but, you know, it's a little bit cheeky. Second Lattice already for the Shambler. I might have to hurry up here. This looks a little cheesy. Let's see if Shopkeeper Dog can adapt in time, because it's definitely not normal Protoss versus Terran strats. Let's talk a little bit about the pick ban here while we have a second before any crazy action goes, as idols are going to be the first combat unit made in the game. Mass Destruction, obviously the pick of the Shambler. This is after banning Brainstorm and after Dog banned Decapitation. After that, it was Crisis Vector as the pick for Dog. He will be picking that map for round number 2. Round number 3 is Checkstealer. We guarantee a Checkstealer showing, and if we need them, Near Impact and Radium will be the next ones. Of course, the admin of this particular matchup was Shopkeeper Dog, which is kind of funny because, the admin of this matchup was Jujic, and so Dog picks both of the Jujic maps of the pool. Very cute, very cool. Serenity gets banned and Blackwater Bastion gets banned, so that is our map pool for this particular matchup. So that's how the complexion of the series will go. It is going to be a lot of idols, as well as a single vassal. There's already a Watchdog in play for Shopkeeper Dog, and he's going double Scrapyard very early on. I think when you scout Vassal, or scout Lattice rather, it makes sense to make one Watchdog. I actually already like what Shopkeeper Dog has done here. Normally, Terrans go Vultures. They're not going to be as useful versus a player that is making air units, and if you suspect that's what the Lattices are for, then Watchdog will protect you, and then it gives you time to build the Scrapyards, which in this version of the game are a bit cheaper as a result of some buffs to it. And yeah, that Vassal is not really going to scout too much on account of being harangued by those Blackjacks, but it will be Blackjack Idol, it looks like, with some Simulacrum on the way. An Embassy will be the follow-up. Is he going to try to drop, or is that just for a witness, maybe anti-mech play, thinking about, you know, could be Vultures out, but in fact it's just going to be straight Blackjack, as well as, of course, the Star Pad coming out here. So I like what I'm seeing so far. Double Embassy. Okay, I think Shambler's actually going to be rocking a lot of Artisans. Yeah. Okay, so this is like a weird greed style where he's going double Lattice open, double Artisan, and I guess he'll probably not expand with a Nexus for a while and just use the extra Artisans there. That seems to be the game plan here. I don't know how economic that is, but if, I mean, the Star Pad's already coming. If Dog sniffs this out, he can actually just make this happen in a funny way. He's going to go for a Blackjack drop, it looks like. I'd love to see him start pivoting to Cyclops. Oh, it's Matador! Matador drop. This makes a lot of sense. So Matadors became a bit faster, but I don't know if that will really matter in this particular case. The third Lattice coming down. No static defense here, and nothing guarding this other path into the base. I suppose the Artisans will give a little bit of advance warning to Shambler. But he has historically not always been the best at actually clocking when he has vision of an incoming drop. So even if it makes a straight beeline to the natural over something, or rather to the main over something that Dog has access to, it could still end up being kind of funny in that way. So he's actually going to deploy them, which the deployment duration or whatever isn't really that long, and he will be taking the long route. Is he going all the way? He is going to go all the way around the world. This might be deliberate because maybe he wants to go for some kind of frontal attack to time it up with. And this will not be something that I think Shambler can scout. He'll drop a Pylon, which will give him a little bit of advance warning, but, well, he's got a Warden coming. I feel like if it had just made the beeline for it, which you can't know is a safe bet, the Warden wouldn't be done in time and the Scribes would get roasted. So we'll have to see what happens here. It looks like Dog might be thinking about going for an expand as he pushes his units forth. You do have to watch out for this side passage, by the way. Unlike in other maps in Cosmonarchy, there's no different side pass here. It's like nothing that blocks it, so you can just end up getting, bopped by that. The Ancial will lead the charge as a single sim is here to scout, and it will, of course, be pounced upon immediately. Now, Shambler did scout the complexion of that army. He saw at least one Matador and a bunch of Blackjacks. I don't know if he noticed the Ancial. It's probably not going to be too significant since he has so much splash damage. But this is the right move from Dog. You are going for a drop, so you go for a frontal push to try to distract. You're going to try to hit them at the same time as the drop comes in, although he has steadied that hand. He's just going to set up a little bit of a spread. As he's continuing to make fulcrums, could definitely drop that Ministry. He's going to pull the trigger on the attack instead with 800 minerals in the bank, so we got to watch out for that as the Ant Seal has already lost its energy. Good target fire. That Matador is soaking up so much damage right now. Will eventually be taken out. Oh, they don't unload. They're not unloading. No! What's he done? He's flubbed it. He could have unloaded that right there. Was he hitting the wrong button? Ah, golly gee willikers. That was a real bang up, Batman. And he's put his Ministry on the wrong spot. I can't believe it. All right, third fulcrum and probably fourth fulcrum with all that money in the bank. And Shopkeeper Dog, he stands to potentially be overwhelmed here. He doesn't have any Matadors coming, nor does he have any that are still intact after that disastrous antic with the drop. That could have changed the whole complexion of the match because one Warden, it takes so long to kill them. The Ant Seal just going to get shellacked by all of the splash damage afforded by the idols. And with good target fire here, I feel like Dog could have maybe grabbed a couple of these kills, but he will concede. This match will actually be fast. I thought we were going to be locked into a longer game, and it turns out we are good to go for game number 2. Faster than we thought. Crisis Vector coming at you with Shambler in the lead, 1-0. And here we are, directly heading into our second match of this best of 5. Shambler is, of course, narrowly favored in this series, but I think this is a series where anybody could take it. This is one of those cases where I think Shopkeeper Dog, it's probably time for him to be in his ascendancy. I know he thinks that PvT, or rather TvP, from the Terran perspective is impossible. There are some ideas that Terrans have had. Shambler's not even playing the style that's normal for this, right? He's going Lattice instead of Gateway into Ardent Authority for the all-important Positron that's received so many buffs recently. So, you know, it's an option. It's definitely something to think about. And we'll have to see whether or not there's a different style that Shambler's going to go for. And again, what those adaptations are going to be. I really liked his idea for the Matador drop. It might have even been premeditated from, you know, what Ayud has done to him when he was playing PvT. And that's the other thing, is Shopkeeper Dog's played a lot of Protoss to avoid the TvT mirror in practice games because he just doesn't want to play it. I'm guessing he did actually play a little bit of TvT recently, though I'm not 100% sure how those games went. I only saw, I'd rather play anything. I'd rather do anything than play TvT. That was a good comment from Dog. He's always very pithy. Now, as we are on Crisis Vector, the latest map from Jujic, we will introduce our players more concretely here because I just kind of brushed over that. This is Shambler, the black, Protoss in the top left, and Shopkeeper Dog, is he Vivid Orange again? This feels like a different name color. I'll say Vivid Orange, but it was just regular orange. I knew it was different. Orange Terran in the bottom right. Shopkeeper Dog has been difficult to color guess so far. The Scribe is already in the base. Obviously, this is a 2-spot map. You don't have to guess where your opponent is, which is another thing that actually kind of contributed to Mass Destruction being so volatile in the early stages of that last game. An interesting situation there. Idol will pop out, and I'm supposing he might skip the Vassal this time, but at the same time, Shopkeeper Dog might end up skipping the Watchdog, since he knows that he can get those scrapyards up in time. And again, he's doing this. He did make a Vulture. So at the very least, he can kind of do some weird counter pressure or at least get some map control with the mines. Obviously a good move in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see because I think broadly speaking, Vultures, I mean, they received a buff semi-recently where they gained extra HP. That I think is probably fine overall. Matadors also gained some extra HP as well as that movement speed I talked about in the previous game. So... You know, people joked about this because Ramsey's got a durability buff before the tournament went live. And I think it was Jujic said, like, screenshotted that and said, if you listen closely during a hurricane, you'll hear somebody whisper, please, somebody build me. And yeah, that's not wrong. That's not wrong. I do think that it's good to have units that are strong and buildable. Really, I think Ramsey's, along with a few other units like the Claymore, and I'm sure a bunch of other units for other races like the Kagralisk and the Protathlor are still kind of on this list to some degree for the Zerg players. There's a pending rework for them so that they have a little bit more of a solidified theme, and they don't they more are synergistic as opposed to anything else. Shopkeeper Dog recently gave some props to the design of Protoss, saying that even though he's talked about how they're really difficult to beat, obviously, he has mentioned things like the fact that a lot of their army units end up synergizing with each other. And I think a lot of this is down to the fact that Protoss have been discovering things like shield restores, right? And, shield comps in that respect. And this is actually going to be a Blackjack Vulture hybrid army here. It'll be more than enough to deal with, of course, this Vassal. Although I do wonder what Shambler is going to be doing with the Scout of the Vulture mines. Assuming those even get pulled, I mean, Shopkeeper Dog Oh, you might not even have to, right? Yeah, he is going to go ahead and pull everything, even the units that can't shoot up, that are blocking the path of the units that can shoot up. The Vassal will hightail it out of there and continue for a scout. Oh, he's actually going to allow Dog to kill it. I don't know why. I guess he's like, yeah, you should have killed this, but you kind of bungled that. So here you go. Doesn't stick around to see the Matador as a result of losing access to that scout, but the first Artisan is already out on the battlefield. Artisan's the advanced worker gatherer for the Protoss. There's no advanced constructor yet, but everybody will get one of those eventually. Unlike the Talos or the Gosvaleth, the Artisan cannot construct. It can only harvest, but it does so without needing a Nexus, right? It just does this channel, and there you go. You're good to go. You got your resources immediately. So we're definitely going to see some of that in action. Warden already on the way for the counter drop. I'm not sure Shambler even noticed the Matador failed drop there, but I'm sure at some point he looked at the wreckage and said, oh, I know what that is. Now, meanwhile, Shopkeeper Dog setting up a decent amount of mines. This almost looks like a weird cross between a TVZ build and a TVT build, but we do indeed have the Matador out in the front. It will absorb a lot of pressure. Oh, hold on. Shopkeeper Dog might be actually getting a lot of damage here. He's going to clear a lot of the idols over here. This is smart splitting from Shambler. Intentional or otherwise, it does actually bog down Shopkeeper Dog's army and force him to pick from multiple flanks. You can see he's trying to hide behind the Matador so that they absorb all of the incoming pressure from those idols. Unfortunately, a lot of those vultures, it feels like they weren't necessarily able to plant their mines. And mines were a non-factor in that whole fight. Now he can try to turn back around. Obviously, during the stun, the simulacrum does not split, so he has to wait until the seconds after he splits. At least I'm pretty sure. If not, that's a bug that we'll try to fix later. But the Matadors are going to come in, and this is where a lot of tanking can happen, especially when they deploy. They have so much armor. 4 armor. That's ridiculous. Now, they are going to undeploy to get a little bit closer. That cuts their armor down to 2. This army does feel like it's running on fumes for Shopkeeper Dog. But he is just rocking off of triple fulcrum, right? And he's kind of just sticking around in this brawly situation, while Shambler is continuing to get more and more ahead due to his artisans. Diving back onto the beleaguered units. They are living up to their name, the Vulture. And Shambler actually has split some of his army now. It feels like maybe this is a good mass where Shopkeeper Dog can try to just sort of push the issue. Going right up on him. Shambler's army under the pump for sure, as the Sims are all that's left, and many of them are very, very wounded. And that is a wrap on that round of units. Now down to only 3 idols, making more as he can, adding more lattices and another embassy. That feels like, I mean, it was put down beforehand, as you can tell by its quantity of HP, right? But I do think that that must have been a bit of a misread, because he thought maybe he has him on the ropes now. But Shopkeeper Dog is just going to force the issue again, really pushing up there, and getting his Matadors on the ramp is a great choice there. He can't really fight up without Blackjacks. Blackjacks are going to have to be the unit that attack the Artisans there. They have a little bit of an okay weapon, actually, that might even help Shambler out in this situation, but he doesn't want to pull them yet. Still intent on just trying to hold back. When the Terran army is on top of your production, it's a bit of a grim sight. It's the same way that it's pretty grim, maybe not to the same degree as Protoss units are individually, maybe a little bit more significant on average, but Lattice units are the exception to that rule. He is putting a Warden down. But yeah, Terrans feel the same way when you're on top of their production, and so I guess maybe now Shambler feels like maybe I didn't switch from Terran after all. Now, 2 idols are up. Only 1 Blackjack here present for the anti-artisan crew, which, you know, there's a lot of money being gathered here by Shambler. Do we have more units that can shoot up is the question. He's just continuing to rally vultures. He is expanding. So Shopkeeper Dog going to keep up, trying to scale up. However, even though Shambler lost a lot, he's got almost no military here, and he's definitely going to be in a scary spot if Shopkeeper Dog continues to attack. The worker count is ridiculous here. He could just use the workers to kill this army, to be honest. Most of them can't shoot up, so it feels like maybe a bit of a missed opportunity there, as Shambler is going to still end up hemorrhaging some more combat units, while the Vulture slowly picks that idol. That's very funny. Thanks to the Matador for soaking up so much damage. Each idol shot only deals 2. That's pretty powerful, pretty difficult. And in case you're wondering how that works, it's because they shoot 2 different projectiles. So we've got double Goliath coming, which does make sense. That could actually force an end to the game, especially since it'll kill the Artisans, right? We've got 6 Vaults and a Blackjack. 2 more Blackjacks on the way. Army-wise, I definitely favor Dog. The problem is I don't know if he can leverage his army advantage, given the position that Shambler is in. He didn't stay forward, using his Vultures to scout for a ground movement and using his Blackjacks to canvas for other bases. He's got mines over here, and also couldn't really do anything there. He's going to go for a fast 3rd base, and also a Palladium add-on. I definitely think Phalanx works out pretty well here. It did get a plus 10 damage recently. But also, I think you got to watch out for when the shield comp starts to come online. Golems are one part of that, but we don't have any additional tech for Shambler. It's just pure lattice so far. The mines being cleaned up, and of course when they are attacked, that will alert Dog about them. We've got, is that another Palladium? No, it's a scrapyard. So I think that kind of points towards Dog. He's probably not going to expand his production anytime soon, and he's just going to kind of chill here for a bit. Remember, the amount of money that Shambler has, this feels like it's actually a dangerous attack coming, and I'm not sure Dog is going to be able to handle it. A lot of that was due to the fact that Dog did not index into anything that can shoot up. Feels like maybe he should have had a 4th Fulcrum if he was going to really try to force that issue. Get as far ahead as he can militarily, really pressure those main bases. He didn't even really pressure that much static defense out of Shambler, only, well, I guess, you know, the 3rd Warden may be a little bit egregious, but, you know, he built this one for anti-drop, and then he built 3 more. Either way, though, that's still not that much, and remember, there's still all these embassies. He's doing pure embassy here. This is a style Neblime used against him on Derelict way back in one of the invitationals between Acropolis 1 and Acropolis 2. I think even between Acropolis 1 and Tyrant's Tail, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of cute. Might have been May Royal Invitational, actually. If I'm not mistaken there. So we do have a Phalanx. We do have a second Phalanx. We have some Matadors here, so actually I don't think this army is going to be able to do too much as long as those Matadors deploy. The Goliaths are also pretty good at dealing with all of that damage. The Golems are going to go down relatively quickly here, and the units from the Terran are, in a rare case, much tankier than the army that the Protoss is wielding. There's a role reversal for what we're normally used to in this kind of situation. And those Phalanxes, they don't have any armor, so the Idols can absolutely mince through them as the Matadors fall. Still, so much damage has been sustained by that army, but I think it might be a little bit too little, too late here. Dog might actually be eliminated. He's got so much money in the bank. He's going to pull the Masons to try to body block those projectiles from the Phalanx so that he can kind of zone them away. Remember, he has that other ministry he can use to make more workers, but he's so far behind in workers. And he has, what, 1 military unit? He's got a couple of units finishing. There's another round of Idols that are coming out here for Shambler. The comeback victory here, maybe economically speaking, he was never in need of a comeback, but this is definitely one of those situations where you really grieve for the Terran. It feels like they did so much that they could have maybe done here. And as Shopkeeper Dog goes for the transfer of that ministry to the 3rd base, that is not going to be scouted anytime soon by the Shambler. If I know Shambler, I know he's not going to bother. Although maybe at some point you get suspicious. He's going to try to lure him in. Good damage there from the Phalanxes. Going to clear that idol. I feel like that second scrapyard could have definitely been a Palladium instead. And then he would have had the power units to maybe hold that siege and not have to stop mining from his natural. Because now it feels like he's way too far behind. We've got double Ardent coming. That could be a Cantor, Positron, pretty much anything. Especially a Clarion would help you really bust this position. Very grim for Dog. He does not want to start this best of 5 down 2-0. Or 0-2 compared to his opponent. Vulture's slowly coming out here as well. They could definitely lay some mines, which synergize super well with Phalanx, because you stun the unit and then it can't dodge the projectile. Definitely a weird situation here as the... Looks like the attack move has been triggered. The Ministry lifted is going to absorb a lot of the projectiles from the idol. Look at that. Brilliant thinking there, but there's still only 2 Phalanxes. The Blackjacks were not in position. All those Masons are going to get wiped. They need to do something to deal with these Golems, and they're not focusing down the right targets. Finally, they will be apprehended. This ministry will eventually die. Shambler has not been microing his army whatsoever to try to avoid that. He's just decided, my task is to eliminate the structure before anything else can happen. And the Golems are going down by the Blackjack, so that's going to work out just fine. The Vulture definitely needs to deploy some mines. But losing the ministry does suck. There were no Masons left to repair it. I think they all got annihilated by Golems and Phalanx Splash, maybe. And now we've got another ministry up and running. This base has 4 workers soon to be, so not really much to write home about. I mean, the worker count is so demonstrably in Shambler's favor, and now he's making double a Cantor. I'd love to see some envoys at some point, but he's just going to keep making artisans, I see. This base very well saturated, holy moly. Crucible on the way as well to empower a lot of that production. It'll handle this Ardent Authority, well, both Ardents and, what, 5 lattices, I think, plus the embassy. That's pretty good. Maybe only 4 lattices. We'll see. Gonna end up losing a couple of units to Friendly Splash here, but that's okay by Dog. The problem is he has no mines. This Vulture has not deployed its mines, and that really could be coming in handy right now to stun the Golems. I don't actually think... He attacked a little bit too soon. The Matadors were moments away. They are going to go ahead and deploy, but he's only got 1 Phalanx, and that will also go up in flames. Quite topical for the Matadors. Yeah, I think as this army gets wiped, it's over. Shopkeeper Dog is going to have to concede and see what his adaptations got, because he has no hope of winning this game. I mean, look at how clumped up all of those idols are. It could be so good. GG. And Shambler rises to a 2-0 start. You know, so many people ask, how is Shambler winning games like these? And I don't really always know the answer. In this particular case, though, I do think Shopkeeper Dog's macro slipped a little bit. And I do think he maybe needed to make a different choice on that third add-on. But nonetheless, this is a style that he's never played against before. This has never come up before. This is not a thing that anybody else does. Shambler playing a style onto himself, very similar to Mass Maverick as Terran. Let's see what happens behind door number 3, because this could be our final map. We're going to Checkstealer. And Checkstealer it is. This could be where it all ends for Shopkeeper Dog in the Tribunal Stage. Again, there's 3 other chances to qualify through one of our 3 gauntlet stages. Each of them takes a week. It's going to definitely be an interesting time because that's a double elimination bracket, so theoretically many more matches have to be organized in that time. But we're already a decent amount of the way proceeding through the Tribunal Stage. I think once this series is complete, we will... I don't know if we're at quite 50%. Let me quickly take a look. Oh yeah, we are. This is the... Once the series is over, done and casted, we will be at 50% of the way complete for the match, for the bracket. So that's pretty fast, right? That's pretty quick. So if we can keep this energy for the gauntlet stages, there won't be any scheduling conflicts whatsoever. All right, it's Lattice again for the Shambler. He is our red Protoss in the top right of Checkstealer, and Shopkeeper Dog is Beaster Brown. He is definitely Beaster Brown. Terran in the bottom right. What gave it away was the Ministry. I was not to be fooled by Vivid Orange, Electric Orange, Orange, etc. I believe at one point in the casts I did mention that if you want to really confuse me on color guesses, you just put a bunch of oranges in your color. So that's one that's hard for me to distinguish sometimes. And a lot of that is down... I mean, it used to be really hard for me to distinguish maroon versus blood. Now I think I get it like 90% of the time. So a lot of it is exposure, right? That's how you figure it out. So no worries there. But Shopkeeper Dog is going to be going double fulcrum yet again. And let's see. Shambler is making a manifold. Why is he making a manifold? Is he worried about those matadors? Get that armor pen going. Could be a good move, actually. I mean, it's a very synergistic unit with the likes of idols. The problem is it can be picked apart super quick, and they are more of a support unit, and they cost a little bit of gas. So you have to protect them a little bit. And they are a bit dainty compared to a lot of other Protoss units. Basically, everything out of the Lattice is a bit more dainty, with the exception of the Golem, than anything out of the Gateway. Maybe there's like... There might be... Maybe the Sim is tankier than the Legionnaire. I think that's probably true. But because it has less DPS than the Legionnaire, I feel like in most fights it would actually lose more often in a 1v1. Really depends on what the unit is on the other side, you know? Can you kill a Sim with a Golem if you micro? I'm not sure. I think if the Sim gets microed, I think you're always dead as the Golem, because he just splits forever. Without being able to scout him early on, Shopkeeper Dog is going to make a safety watchdog, and the scribes are going to get caught by those vultures. Actually, 4 vultures. Okay, so this is a much more vulture-oriented early game, and we already have the embassy making an artisan. The Mason will not scout much other than the fact that this is indeed manifold-centric. Oh, this could be such a quick game. I was going to say quick and close at the same time. Close game. But I feel like with this defensive setup from Shambler and him already going for the embassy, this feels a little bit too early, yeah? Second embassy before... He's leaving some of his lattices idle. One of his 2 lattices idle. That's actually very dangerous, it feels like. Especially with all these vultures out. This kind of makes sense as the way to just stomp on this, right? You just execute this guy by going mass volt and running him over. Is this the bulldoze? Shopkeeper Dog going to get on the board in the funniest of ways possible? We'll have to see. Because this I would count this as an adaptation. I love planting all the mines early. You delay those blackjacks. I wonder if maybe the scrapyard play wasn't actually an adaptation on mass destruction. That was the game plan, and he was going to do that versus somebody going mass gates. He was just going to delay his first military unit, and then he's like, okay, well, I need the vulture to scout or whatever in case my initial scout dies, and I need to figure out what army he's making. So now I'm going to adapt by making 1 vulture and then going scrapyard. And now he's going just straight vulture. He's like, no, I need to counter this by that. He's got a lot of mines. If Shambler ever pops out, I'm assuming he's seen some of the vultures lay those mines. But if he ever ends up scouting this particular position, he has so many embassies, he could easily make a witness and kind of short-circuit a lot of this very early on. Remember, this is Shambler's map pick. He won on Crisis Vector, a map pick by Dog. He won on Mass Destruction, Shambler's own map pick. So this is an opportunity for him to close it out 3-0 and make it look like this wasn't even a contest. Shopkeeper Dog obviously has an opportunity to do much more than that. I wonder if he's going to save all of his gas and go pure vault Oh, he's actually going to go for the attack. I was going to say maybe he'll tech up later. So he's going to dive forward. He's focusing down idols as they do a little bit of splash damage. And, you know, his army is still very healthy. So this is a very uncharacteristic fight. I never see this kind of thing happen. He's going to fall away, which feels like it was unnecessary. I don't think Shambler could have held on. In fact, here we go. He's diving back in. Remember, if those artisans get peeled off and actually attack, Shambler can easily hold this. Maybe not easily. He might lose a lot of scribes, actually, as all of his military are gone. You can see his artisans coming up now. He's still ignoring those ones at the natural. And obviously the ones that are harvesting. The wardens are potentially going to get focused down here. We've got more vultures coming in. One idol goes down. The second one soon to fall. The artisans are getting good, consistent damage because the vultures cannot attack up. But the health buff is actually going to help them out so much as they go after that secondary warden. Oh, it's not even going to get canceled. Shopkeeper Dog is looking to run the gamut. I mean, he's transferring all his workers down to the bottom right, but there's no nexus there and no steady source of minerals because he's harvesting Vespine with all of his artisans, and he hasn't changed their tasking. This is over, boys. We are not going to be run down purely by a Protoss victory. We will see the Terrans represent. Shambler is, I mean, in the same way that Shopkeeper Dog kind of extended play in the last game just because he refused to believe that he was dead. He didn't know how many artisans there were. It doesn't matter how many artisans there are now because this is a wrap. This is over. GG. Shambler will concede. Maybe a minute later than he needed to, but again, Shopkeeper Dog did much the same thing. We are going to game 4, and I'm interested. Could we end up on Radium as a decider? Is the glimmer of hope still there for us to have a best of 5? I mean, the last best of 5 was like less than 40 minutes, so, you know, these games have been quick. Let's see what happens in game 4. Here we are on Near Impact. Shopkeeper Dog's final map pick, as when you are the lower seed, you do not have the advantage of picking 3 maps out of the 5. Shopkeeper Dog won on Shambler's map pick. They've traded map picks. It's not the same thing as what we might have expected. So I'm interested in seeing what happens here because Shopkeeper Dog, well, okay, I'll talk a little bit about that. Let's introduce the players and their spawns. We've got in the bottom right here, Shambler as our, ooh, is this Platinum Purple? Tyrian Purple, Protoss. And in the top left, we have Shopkeeper Dog as the Midnight Green Terran. And the reason why I want to talk about Shopkeeper Dog in this particular moment, you know, I can only talk about 2 players here. I could talk about myself, I guess. But Shopkeeper Dog is, at this point, that play with the vultures is really strong because of the message that it sends to Shambler. Shambler can't do what he did in the opening of the last 3 games without fear of reprisal now. Because if it gets scouted on a 2-spawn map, where you can't hide and you can't hope that the guy scouts you last, that will be a death sentence for him. Shopkeeper Dog will just run him over. He is going for that first fulcrum. We'll see if he goes for a second one, as he has enough Vespine for it. I assume that he will. Expertly done, by the way. Constantly pulling off immediately at 50 gas. Not a single moment of mining wasted, or at least not a whole return. And Shambler will, of course, scout as he puts down his second lattice. First combat unit will be the idol again. And we have double fulcrum here indeed. So, pretty much the same opening. Scouted again by Shambler. He will know you're probably going to go for multiple vultures. At least he can be annoying by harassing the worker, but in this kind of situation, at least for like 1/4 of the time, it won't be harassable because it'll be in between the structures, right? And so he's going to get shooed away immediately. I do wish Shambler stuck around to see if this fulcrum would start making a unit, because historically, there have been those builds where Shopkeeper Dog has just gone for the more silly route of not building a vulture. I think he's done with that now. But that first game, he didn't build a vulture, right? He just went straight to scrapyard. The second game, he built 1 vulture. So it would be helpful to know, if you're against Shopkeeper Dog, what style is he doing? He's not got any Vespine in the tank, so he is either going for... I think he's going to go for a Ministry behind this, actually. He's floating so much money. I think he's just going to go straight for Ministry. Yep. And he'll probably just continuously stock workers. You know, he'll overbuild ministries, right, in that respect. Now, this is Near Impact. This is a map where it has those floating bases. Doesn't surprise me to see the embassy come out of Shambler's style here, right? He's going to go for all of these resources, right, in the corners. And that will force a star pad out of Shopkeeper Dog. We have him harvesting gas again. We'll see what he wants to do with that as he's pumping some volts out. Only got the 1 vulture. He hasn't even laid the mines because he knows that this army likes to mass up for a lot longer before adding. Does he ever go for something anti-vassal? We have 1 vassal coming out. Honestly, I'm waiting for Shambler to go like quintuple embassy and do the hit 'em up build where he just makes artisans and kills them with those. Really, Shopkeeper Dog has had to endure some absolute insanity of playing against hit 'em up. I almost feel bad for him, but I hope it was at least entertaining. The mines are going to come out more offensively than otherwise, and it will be double scrap again. So this is going to be mass blackjack. Before the competition even began, funnily enough, I think Shopkeeper Dog said at some point that he believes his hope is that the way that you get around what happens out of here is like it should be Arbuz and Top Ramen ascending. And Shopkeeper Dog is on Ramen's side of the bracket. And so I really like the idea that he reverse sweeps Shambler and then he's like, I concede, Great One. That would be unsportsmanlike conduct, personally, but it's just funny. It's funny to think about that. The Ministry actually blocking most of the blackjacks there, so Shambler thinks he can come in and shoot the Mason. That's perfect. That's peak. Vassals don't have great vision range, so he might not have even seen them anyway, but makes sense. Try to heckle the worker banking stuff. So that expansion comes down. It's obviously way faster than Shambler's, but Shambler has the Artisans out, so he's going to just try to rely on that. He's obviously getting a lot more Vespine income at the very least, which will help him afford more Artisans. I'm getting a little ahead of myself on the reverse sweep, though, because even if Shopkeeper Dog takes this game, and he's got much more even macro than Shambler had last time, an Artisan is not that much more efficient than a Scribe when there's a Nexus. So, in fact, it might not even be more efficient. It might be less. So, when you think about it like that, if the worker counts are even, Shopkeeper Dog basically has no disadvantage. Problem is, that's not always true, because we could have these Artisans go for the flying bases, or they could go for specifically more Vespine, like they're doing right now, instead of minerals. And that could also leverage it into something more dangerous. The Cestus is here for armor boosting. Very potent versus the idols. Super potent. Super important. Armor definitely screws their attack up quite a bit, reducing their efficacy. So, smart to see that come out. Good game theory. Going to be a Palladium for a Phalanx. And I would love to see double Palladium here. If I see double Palladium, I'm a happy man. Because then I think Shopkeeper Dog is appropriately minding the potential here. He could go Goliath out of this Naked Fulcrum. Okay, it's a scrapyard. I'm not as much of a happy man. But hey, if he ends up spamming Blackjack Matador with some Phalanx support, it makes sense. Now, a Starpad can come out here and go for Wraiths to try to pick the Artisans. One Wraith should beat an Artisan. I actually haven't tested that after the weapon nerfs to the Artisan. But I'm pretty sure one Wraith beats an Artisan. Certainly cost efficiency-wise, it's better because it's less Vespine, I believe. I think it's 50-50 for an Artisan. I could be wrong about that. I haven't played as Protoss and mined Vespine in so long, guys. I'm sorry. I'm letting you guys down now. It's 50-25. So, barely more expensive is a Wraith. Mines are going to get slowly cleared up here and reveal the size and scale of the army for Shopkeeper Dog, albeit only temporarily. He's aware of the move out. He's got the Phalanxes. He's ready to go. He just put something else down. It's an anchor. One Vulture's guarding all of the extraneous bases. And this mine actually has vision of the Artisans, so Shopkeeper Dog does know what's going on there. Oh, he made a Valkyrie. Guys! Shopkeeper Dog made a Valkyrie. Last time that happened, he beat Art of Turtle with an air Wraith, like Wraith Valk Artisan. No, Anseal. That was very cool. That was on Demaloon. Shout out Demaloon one time. We're on Near Impact. We might as well shout out Demaloon. So the Valk's just going to patrol top right, but there's nothing to patrol there, so it should actually swoop on down. Let's see if Shopkeeper Dog even needs to. 2 idols have already fallen. Man, I'm really sad I wasn't able to figure out how to export Delta Catamus's idol, because Shambler with the new idol, like rocking the idol as his comp here. Well, hey, if he makes it to Battlements, we'll have more opportunity to see his style. So maybe I should definitely get it done by then. So here's the Vulture guarding the 9 o'clock position or 3 o'clock position. Another Valkyrie is going to arrive there. And tier 2 already on the way for Shopkeeper Dog. So he's patrolling everything. I definitely feel like he could work on the Artisans here if he so desired. Because, like, nobody expects you to not take your natural Nexus, but that's exactly what Shambler has done. Who needs to expand when you've got Artisans? This is his style. This is his thought. I like how he ignores that one up there. Oh, the minefield actually stuns one of the Artisans and an idol. That's really funny. Oh, he's actually going to kill multiple Artisans there. We love that. He can clear this one too, if he sees it. No, that's fine. Where's the sound coming from? Ah! They got scared away. Well, the tier 2 is on the way, so Shopkeeper Dog is going to be happy about that. He has forced Shambler to consider investing in a real structure instead of being whatever this is. Neblime. Even Neblime would make a Nexus. It's just unfair. It's just uncouth. It's unseemingly behavior. Oh, with the Atlas done. And the Valkyrie's continuing to try and rain terror down upon the Artisans. They'll prevent any unguarded expansions from being taken. A single Valkyrie gets annihilated by a horde of idols. But there's no way that Shambler's going to break through this. So, again, economically speaking, Shopkeeper Dog is just fine with this. There's not even any additional Vespene being harvested, so it's not even like the workers are an asymmetric reward. It is just Shambler has saturation at natural, Shopkeeper Dog has saturation at natural, and that's it. Valk's continuing to hunt, pressure, see what they can do. Good peeks. Good check-ins. Warden's on the way at the ramp. This is very strange behavior. I don't want to call it degen toss yet, but I'm leaning towards that, right? Artisans moving to the bottom left. Actually, no Valks are there, so they're up here to the top right. Might not matter, though, as Tier 2 is finally being actuated. Tier 3, or a third base, rather, on the way for Shopkeeper Dog. I wish it was Tier 3. He's actually going to go to this position here instead of this position. I don't know if he already scouted that there was an idol there. There's a Vassal. It will not block the landing, at the very least. Oh, he's bringing the Cestus, boys! I think he's just going to break out of the soft contain that Shambler is setting up here. I'm going to drop that Cestus. Drop that fatty Cestus. Oh, it's just going to get annihilated, though. I still don't like this fight for Shambler, though. Even with the Phalanxes on the front line with no armor, and the Cestus already being deleted, I think there's so many Blackjacks he could win with those alone. This army is absolutely rotten. You may have heard the legendary James Bardolph call in Counter-Strike of the hairy ass buy when the CTs had a garbage buy. I think it was CTs. I only have one choice, so I at least 50% of remembering it correctly. But that's a hairy ass army right there. Shambler needs to shave his ass. Well, he put down a pylon instead of a Nexus. I don't know what that's about. That feels like a mistake, but I guess at least he can work it stabbing the pen. It's not a mistake, it's intentional. God damn it. The Anseal's gone down to Idol's Fire. Still have a wounded Valkyrie over here. Cataphracts are on the way. It's Cataphract, Siren, with a whole load of Blackjacks. We love that. Yeah, I don't think Shambler's going to be able to clear this. What's his tech? He's going a Cantor. That doesn't beat anything here. I guess it kind of beats the Blackjacks. But they're pretty bulky. I love the Valkyrie absorbing some shots. Might as well get some cost efficacy out of that. Cat is leveraged. Idols and Sims severed. The Golems could try to absorb some of those shots, but I don't think they'd stay alive for very long. I'm kind of surprised that Shambler hasn't gone for a Clarion or anything. I do like that he's coming back here to try to pick off some of the Blackjacks before their Katas and Phalanxes get into position. Sort of using his army's mobility a little bit against the opposing factor. But Blackjacks themselves do hit pretty hard versus Idols. It's not a terrible trade for them, even though it's not good either. They're like middling against it, so it's not like these are Idols against like unstimmed Mavericks or something, or even stimmed Mavericks might even be worse in some ways because they have less health. It's not even like that, right? So this is still a very difficult fight. He's got no armor pen whatsoever. His manifolds have all died, so he cannot increase the armor pen of his Idols. And this is looking insurmountable. The Acantor can get some value until the Phalanx is siege, in which case it's completely invalidated as well. We have no envoys to, you know, kind of Zealot Bomb or Golem Bomb or whatever it is, Sim Bomb, onto the Phalanx line. So not really that much can be done here. He's trying to Excar with the Acantor. It's already taken one shell. That's that damage buff in action. Damage to the hull. Love to see it. Finally clearing out that position in the third base. Artisans are here on the front line. I don't know what that's about. That must have been a just because, but he's gonna concede. He knows he's been had. GG. Shopkeeper Dog could reverse sweep the Shambler, and that would be so epic, just and right. At least IMO. I mean, you go basically borderline degen toss here, and somebody figures you out in the middle of a series. That's gotta feel good for Dog. Let's see what happens behind our final game. Radium, here we come. And here we are. Shambler. Shambler picked Radium of the available maps that were there. Off the dome, I don't remember what those were. I think Kingwa Valley was technically on the cards. I don't think it was banned. So I'd say Radium is definitely an option there. Definitely a thing that could have been... Kingwa Valley could have been picked. Radium could have been picked. Radium was picked. So let's see if Shopkeeper Dog remembers how to play this map, because it has been a while since I've seen him on it, but I know he has played some TvTs on it at the very least. He is here in the bottom left as our Cyan Terran, and he will be going Fulcrum first yet again. It's the only thing to go. Shambler is going Gateway. Whoa! Shambler going Gateway in the final game. He's throwing everything away. He's our Black Protoss. Did I say that already? I don't remember. Very important, very interesting adaptations here. Shambler finally going a normal Protoss style. Has he practiced the normal Protoss style? Has he made a Gateway in the last, like, week? All the marbles. Thanks to Jujuk again for not just this series, but many other series he has handled. I love that Shopkeeper Dog lost track of how many games it was. Not that I enforce any other style of adminning on for the homies, but one of the things I enjoy doing is writing out, like, you know, in this case it would be like the Shambler 2-2 Shopkeeper Dog, so that we know the match score. That might have include Dog in this case. I'll do that in the lobby, not in the replay. All right, it is Shambler going Legionnaire first. This is surely confusing. How will Shopkeeper Dog fight against that? If he's not careful, a Legionnaire all-in could actually kill him. Shambler's the only one who believes in the Legionnaire, pretty much. And to that, I salute him because I love the Legionnaire. It's a very cool thematic unit. Oh my god, he's got so many queued up, dude. He could put down another Gateway instead, but the man is not... Okay, 3 gate. It's mass Legionnaire time. So here's the deal. If Shopkeeper makes 1 Vulture and then techs with the add-ons, I think he's dead. He's making a 2nd Vulture already. If he scouts mass Legionnaire and he doesn't have enough time to get Scrapyard into Matador, I think he's dead. But what's he going to do, right? Like, he has been going Scrapyard anyway. No, he's going to go mass Vault. So I do think that Vultures perform worse versus Legionnaires than a lot of people think. Big part of that is that when the Legionnaires teleport... Oh my god, the mines are going to miss him. He's not going to even see it. The Vulture could at least do some counter damage, but he has no idea what to expect. Okay, he's going to come... Oh, he's going to dance around the ramp. Dancing, dancing. He sees nothing. Where are they? They're all gone. Where could they be? Has he only made 1? No way. He's making a 3rd gate. I've seen Shopkeeper Dog and Top Ramen spam I guess Ayud as well. Spam micro vultures. And then end up getting absolutely giga stomped back at home. Oh, he's going Blackjack versus Mass Legionnaire. I don't think you can do that, man. I don't want this to be true, but I think Shambler might win with 6 Legionnaires. Now, I guess there's a lot of Vultures here. Oh, but he's not microing them. He's not microing them back at home. Okay, Blackjacks are good versus Legionnaires, to better than Vultures at the very least, because they can hit scam. But, oh, he needs to pull the boys. He was making a star pad. Okay, Wraith not... I guess that's not a terrible panic buy. He's making Matadors. That's the right move. He needs to drill on top of the Legionnaires. Okay, Shambler pulls back. He knows what's going on here. Slight worker advantage for the Shambler, but this is not a style that he's used to playing so far. He's actually going to pull some of those Legionnaires in there, which is going to distract the workers a little bit, but yeah, Matadors are good here. You can see the he's waypointing them in such a position. This is excellent choice. He can push those Legionnaires back when they deploy. The Legionnaire has 0 armor pen, so will deal 6 damage a pop. He should deploy them. There we go. Way harder for the Legionnaires to kill that. Okay, so that's a wrap on the initial attack. The Wraith will move across the map. Is there a Warden? It's warping in, so I think it'll be there by the time that happens. He's going to deploy yet another Matador. It needs to be repaired. He needs to repair it or drill on top of it or something. There we go. The repairs have to come in. Because the Legionnaires are still okay with DPS. You can see him going after the Scrapyard. The Scrapyard had its health reduced recently. It's 5 less Legionnaire hits. Plus burning. Oh, God. Oh, God. What a tense game. The Wraith's going to come in, but the Warden's already done. So that is not going to have any impact unless somehow Shopkeeper Dog micros it in the middle of all of this. And I don't think the answer is yes. Oh, he does! He figured it out! Good shit, but I don't know if he can hold back at home. He needs to drill his Masons. He needs to drill his Masons. They're getting overwhelmed. It's GG! Shambler, 3-2. Oh, all the marbles. My God. Okay. All right. Well, he made Legionnaires. So I can't be too salty at Shambler moving through and facing another chance at potentially winning. You know, that's such a tease. Both times we've casted a best of 5 so far. It's been 5 games. The guy who was losing the first two comes back, makes a decider happen, reverse sweep threatened, and then he gets rushed down to his untimely demise. You know what? Shambler showed basically 2 layers of gameplay here. His game plan and Legionnaires. And I do think that there is going to be a weakness there that can be exploited. Shopkeeper Dog showing some good responses there with the Vulture spam, which could have maybe won him Game 4, by the way. But definitely an option that just kind of steamrolls over, gets up to a much more powerful composition in the mid-game. Protoss, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't know if Shambler's got... He's got a little bit of time to practice for his next opponent, who is not yet decided, but is, if you're looking at the bookmakers, it's probably Top Ramen. We don't know yet because the Hapseya Jakulansky match hasn't happened. So as of the time of recording this, we don't know if, maybe Hapseya comes back to form and smashes everybody and it's PvP against the Shambler. And then Shambler qualifies to battlements because he almost always wins their matches, and it's very sad for Hapseya. Or maybe Jack will surprise everybody, play Zerg, and maybe even beat the Shambler. You never know. He almost beat him once a long time ago. I can't remember what the context was. And I think he did beat him once in a series play. He took like 1 game off of him, or maybe he was in a group a long time ago. Who knows? But point is, exciting times, and we'll see. We will see what happens next. Thanks for joining us for this tournament match, and GG's. We'll have more Cosmonarchy soon. Stay subscribed. Stay tuned. Peace.